Dear brothers, it's about quality, not quantity.
So guys, it should be your conversation where you flow your presence enough for a woman to want to be around you, not how much money you spend.
Dear sisters, it's about knowing your value.
My sisters out there, don't be afraid to scare a guy off just because you have standards.
Dear brothers, dear sisters, it's time to come together.
All right, welcome back to the most mature podcast pertaining to relationship topics. I'm your relationship advisor and author, Tramel Lawrence, and listen, we are live. But before we get underway, I just want to give a special shout out to my brother, Carl, the coach. You know, Kim, wherever he may be. The brother may be in San Diego. He may be in Austin, Texas. Brothers all over the place. But thank you all for joining us today. We greatly appreciate you taking your time out to be a part of this great, amazing show and to perceive and prepare to receive a lot of nuggets. Trust me, you're going to receive a lot of nuggets. As always, we truly appreciate your love and support, especially to those who are now watching on the YouTube channel. Just please make sure you hit that subscription and notification button so that way this will continue to spread the message of unifying our brothers and sisters. And to help me spread that message, I am here with my amazing sister, DBDS moderator, Cameron Hillman, who I'm honored to have on the show. And we're going to dive deep. Hey, what's going on, Cam? What's going on? How you doing this weekend?
What'd you say?
Absolutely. No, I was going to ask you, we're definitely going to hit some nuggets today to talk about how we can spark that chemistry with our peoples out there and with their significant partners.
Absolutely. Let's do it. I'm excited.
Yes, I am too. So, thank you for coming on to hosting with us and to share your knowledge. And if those who are not aware, by the way, this past Friday was your birthday. So yes. Happy birthday.
Thank you. And happy birthday to my birthday twin, your baby girl. So
yes,
she's amazing. She's my favorite person in the whole wide world.
Yes, absolutely. I'm telling you, those that have kids out there, you can understand when that birthday time comes, you got to get those toys ready, wrapped up. You know how it is.
Absolutely.
But that's amazing. So tell me, how was your birthday weekend so far? And tell the people a little bit about yourself as well.
So my birthday weekend was amazing. Thank you for asking. Friday, I got loved on by my homegirls, and last night I got loved on by a very special person who took me to an amazing restaurant, and we just had a great time catching up and talking about all kinds of things. So it's been an amazing weekend so far. I'm greatly appreciative for another trip around the sun. Don't really focus on the age because I promise you every year I'm getting younger. I'm aging in reverse.
Yes, you are. Like that Benjamin Button movie. Yes, I mean.
Absolutely. I'm the female version of it.
I love that.
Yeah, but for those of you who don't know who I am, like Mel said, I am one of the DBDS Facebook group moderators. I'm an author. I'm from Atlanta, and I'm an author as well. And when it comes to boredom, that is not in my vocabulary because I'm always finding something to do. So yeah, that's how I keep my brain growing and keep the energy up. So yeah.
I love to hear that, and I just think that everything good or bad is universal, and which means to me, I'm sure that the gifts that you shared with us and that was provided to you was very special. And I think that it's no different than you hosting and sharing your gift to help unify our brothers and sisters to establish healthy relationships. So again, we always honor and appreciate it to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's an honor to be a part of this, truly.
Absolutely. Thank you. So now it's time to pivot to our topic title. Does boredom in a relationship equal ending it? And I just think this has a huge impact in our community because we all know that we have the highest, unfortunately, divorce rates compared to other groups of people. And upon doing my research, I noticed that nearly 90% of divorces are initiated by our sisters. And not all of them, as I mentioned before on our last show, are based on domestic violence or infidelity. But sadly, most of them disclose that they were bored in their relationship, which we are going to dive in today. So we're going to help those today how to communicate with their partner, what they feel is lacking, and how they get that spark back verbally and non-verbally. So Cameron, you're ready to bring our guest into the studio?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So our first guest coming into the DBDS Live studio is a sister whose expertise and knowledge has helped countless people. She has appeared on numerous podcasts such as Talk Sip, with the Diamond Riders on Hustle and Shine. And she also has hosted the Queen Takeover. I want to welcome back my sister, Tanisha the Professor. Welcome back to DBDS Live.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate this.
Absolutely, my sister. So listen, we have some new viewers in the studio. Just tell the people a little bit about yourself, where you from, and why you're on the show today.
Okay, so I am from Connecticut. Um, I am an author. I run a group on Facebook called The Divine Feminine. And it's all about supporting our women who either want to attract or they already are married to a divinely masculine man. And Lord, we need some help with them because God knows they are a lot to deal with. And so I'm here to support you with that. And then I own a brick and mortar business with my sister called Dermalift CT, where we do all things beauty. And then I'm also a master educator in beauty. So those are like my gigs. And then, of course, I write podcasts. I have total published 9 books and, not really stopping there. Kind of trying to just keep the ball rolling. As much as I can help people, that's all I want to do. I just want to help. That's it.
Ooh, that's amazing, man. I mean, I have to update my resume. I mean, you're a pure example of a sister that has that feminine, natural energy, and I just love the fact that you that ball just went right down the hill and you're still flowing with it. So I appreciate you, my sister.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
All the time. And next, coming into the DBDS Live studio is a sister who I'm honored to have on the show. Listen, it's her first time here, but trust me, she's going to speak her truth. I want to welcome, look at her giggling in the background. I want to welcome my sister Jamila to DBDS Live.
Hi.
Hey.
Thank you for having me.
The honor is ours. So just tell the people a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and why you're on the show today.
So I'm from New Haven, Connecticut. I'm on the show to give you guys some really good advice to help you grow and not give up.
Okay. I love that. Short and direct. I love that. Short and sweet.
Yes.
All right. So listen, let's go ahead and pivot to our first topic related to does boredom in a relationship equals ending it. And the first one I like to dive into, which is very critical that we should discuss, is why does boredom happen in a relationship and the signs? How can you detect those signs when the air out the balloon is starting to come out? So my thing is that there's a list of different avenues, right? Such as your interests may have changed, meaning that maybe you don't share the same hobbies with your wife or your husband like you used to, or it may not be that you're not getting enough attention or that you used to back in the day when you first met each other, or maybe because, which is a main factor since I come from a communication background, that You no longer have meaningful conversations with your significant other. Whatever that
Mm-hmm.
may be, I I think it's very crucial that the communication aspect is very important. And there are some people out there, believe it or not, tap into their selfish manner and just don't want to put in the effort anymore, and they just want to go out and test the waters. So I think when I hit that at the top of the show, that's problematic in our community, especially in our marriages today. So first, I would love to hear
Yes.
from my sister Tanisha. What is your perspective as to why does boredom happen in a relationship?
I think boredom happens for a number of reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of which you've said already. But a lot of times boredom happens just because not that sparks leave, but it's no different than doing anything repetitively. Anytime, like our human nature, when we do anything repetitively, after a while it gets boring and you kind of go from being consciously moving into unconsciously moving. It's almost like driving. We don't think about driving. We just go and
Mm,
we look up and we're at our destination. So I think when it comes to boredom and relationships, a lot of times, one, people don't do people do a lot of things in the beginning, and you have to do what you did to get them to keep them. And a lot of people just put in enough work to get the person and then say, oh, okay, I got him now. I don't got to do as much work. So um, let me fall back because I don't got to call as much. I don't got to text as much. I don't got to do as many positive words of affirmation. I don't have to do as much, for that. And also, the last thing for me is like no different with anything else in the world. I look at nature to show us real life, and seasons
mm,
change,
right.
and just because we're not in our summer season and it's our winter where everything feels a little dried up doesn't mean that we don't have sparks anymore. It just means that the season has shifted for a second. I do think when the season changes, though, if you don't have effective communication and you don't communicate the fact that this season has changed for us, that's where I know for women we'll get a little bit like anxious and antsy, like what's going on, why isn't he doing the same things, why aren't we going out as much, why aren't we doing this? And really it's just this is a season of this, and let them know, this is a season of this, and then that can give her the holdover to wait until the other season. Just like in winter, we can't wait for spring. It's like, where's spring, come on, where's spring? But if we never
Right.
knew when spring was coming, it would seem like spring was going to take all days. And then now I don't want to be in winter forever. So
Oh,
now
okay.
I'm, what do I want to get a divorce? Am I going to leave? But if it's not communicated to me, I might assume that winter is going to be forever. And then it'll make me want to bail. So I just think that effective communication when the season of your relationship shifts a little bit, that it needs to be communicated so that the person in the season, usually the woman, can adapt and compromise and say, okay, this is just a season. I could wait for this. I can wait on this.
Mm, love that. Love how you just broke that down because seasons do change. I think the reality is that the honeymoon doesn't last forever. I mean, there are going to be times that
You sure don't.
moments, moments is going to get a little dull. And may I add, normally, if there's a high attraction level, just keep in mind at the beginning, it normally does start off with a flurry of passion and high enthusiasm. But it does set in when a married couple gets comfortable with each other and those feelings begin to fade.
Mm-hmm.
But there are ways you can always get them back. I usually call them the relationship
Right.
tune up, just like you take your car to the
Yes.
shop and get an oil change, get that relationship
Yes.
tune up. Do some activities out
Absolutely.
there, be spontaneous, do all those, like
Right.
I said, that analogy is like that oil change. Just do everything to keep that tune up going so that way you can reach the next destination, right? So next I'm
Right.
coming to my sister Jamila. What are your thoughts on this particular topic?
So I'll speak from experience. I'm currently going through that as well, like the boredom part. I feel like we in relationships, we don't really take into consideration like we're growing. So I'm thinking myself when I was 23 years old, when I first met my husband, he was, he'd do this, do that, always nonstop. But then as times went on, we really, we lost interest in different things, or he didn't know how to do this because he did it back when we were 23 and 25 and 30. Now in our 40s is different now, so
Mm,
we're like we're bored. He's bored, I'm bored, but we're trying to find ways to, tune it, not really tune in, but tap into where we are now, but I think people they don't take into consideration that, like you were saying, Tanisha, like there's a phase. There's time. Each time we go time. So, I don't think people take into consideration that. And then, like you said, they bail out, you get frustrated and stuff like that instead of trying to find ways to do something different. I'm bored now.
Period.
But hey, you gotta take into consideration that what you like at 23, you don't like at 30, you don't like at 40, you don't like at 50. Is y'all get it. You get it.
Yes.
Take into consideration.
No. I mean, what you said is so true. I mean, I like how you share your experience. That experience is always the best teacher, and that's why, all these great examples of boredom, they can definitely be fixable. I just think there's no good reason just to leave someone, just based off of being bored, especially when you invested so much mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually.
Right.
Think about the impact it has on the children if you have children. Just think about that, right?
And then my thing is too, like, what's boredom? Like, what are you like before the show even started? It's kind of like, what are you really looking for? So you say like, I'm bored. What are you like? Are you trying to go and do this or do that? And then you're looking for, it's like the grass ain't green on the other side. So what are you really looking for? And then you go somewhere else, and then you really don't get what you was looking for. You get what you was looking for, and then you don't get what you was, what you really wanted, and then you're losing what you really wanted. So I don't get the whole I'm out boredom thing, but to each his own.
No. Very well said, my sister. I think the key is, before I come to Cam, the key is that all relationships take consistent work, and that's what it is. And to those who prefer to test the waters, just keep in mind that the same phase will occur again with the next person, because as we mentioned, the honeymoon phase does not last forever, especially when you start to get to know someone on a deep level. So, my sister Cameron, what are the signs that your significant other may be losing interest, and why does boredom happen in a relationship, especially today? Hello, Cam? All right, so she's having a little tech. Cam,
No, she's
can you hear
back.
me? Ooh, Cam? All right, so we're going to just keep the show flowing. It's all good. So now that we discuss all different perspectives, and I'm definitely going to come back to Cam, we're going to go ahead and just get to some comments that are flowing in. And the first comment that comes up is,
Happy birthday.
there you go. Welcome back.
I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah, the connection is dragging. I caught it just in time.
Just in time. Happy birthday. So before we get into the other nuggets, just please share your thoughts on this particular topic.
Yeah, no, right quick. The ladies hit the nail right on the head. Tanisha talking about the seasons in relationships. There's an ebb and a flow, not only in life, but in relationships that we have with other people. And Jamila, she, brought it home with growth. We don't take into account that not only are we growing, but so is our partner. And we have to allow space, for the partner to grow as well as ourselves. And, the main part I guess, for growing parallel to each other, but we take into account that one may be further along down the path than the other one is, but at the same time, we're still growing. We're not static, because we're not meant to be static beings. We're supposed to grow, and we have to allow space for that.
Right. Yes.
Wow. Very well. That's right. We're not static beings. We grow. I like that. But we have to admit, those that be testing the waters out there, they are still living their second childhood. I just I just want to put that out there. So now it's time to come to our comments. And we already got that comment with the happy birthday. We appreciate you sharing that. Next one is from our brother Carl the
Okay,
coach.
Carl.
Okay.
An article on divorcedmoms.com, a website by and for divorced mothers, also probes this question. While spousal infidelity and housework are mentioned, it is the touchy-feely elements that come into play. The author notes that women often initiate divorce when they experience boredom. Women very often need more than their man can provide, especially when it comes to intellectual and emotional intimacy and a sense of adventure and surprise. He goes on to explain how even where there were, that left off, but some people get bored because they want the single lifestyle attention while in the relationship.
Okay. Appreciate the comment, Carl. You're not here physically, but you're here spiritually. Appreciate that, brother.
Absolutely.
Always.
I know.
All right, DBDS, a question about this topic, or maybe you can answer this. How can I bring back the excitement to my ex? Have sex with me again every single day. We're talking again, and we don't do it like we used to. It seems like she is losing sexual interest in me more and more, and it's only been 2 months we've been talking. I'm trying my best in bed, but now it seems like I'm getting less and less.
She's tired of being a booty call, sir.
Right. She said, all I care about is sex, but she wasn't saying that when we first met. Any suggestions?
All right. I'll come first.
Step it up a notch.
Tanisha, what?
Like that. First of all, let me just say this, sir. Where you messed up is still calling her your ex. Like, I wouldn't bust it open for you either anymore. Like, honestly,
Gotcha.
He said, how can I get my ex to still have sex with me like we used to? We just started talking again, and you're still calling her your ex. Like, she's an ex, yet you still want her to open the most vulnerable part of herself up to you without you giving her necessarily anything in return. But of course, you know, when you first meet, things are always fresh and good, but other things have kind of lost something happened and made y'all break up. And now that you guys are rekindling, give her time to rekindle her fire for that as well. But it doesn't seem like there's much offered other than that based on the comment. Now, there could be a lot lost in translation, but the first is my ex. I would have been like, okay.
Right. Look at my ex. Okay. Appreciate the advice.
Yeah, that's the first thing I saw, because I was like, why would you? And then I saw the rest.
Right. Jamila, any advice you want to give this brother?
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking when I seen X, I'm like, you guys were X, you got back together, you gotta step it up. You gotta you like what same thing like I was just saying about growth. She wanted that before, now she's somewhere else mentally. So, you know, leave it alone. Step up a notch, do something different, you know, because it's not all about sex. You know what I'm saying? So do something different with her, you know, especially if you want her to hang around, you know, and stay there. But the sex was good when she was, for example, 21. She's 25. It don't work. Let it go.
Yeah, where's the intimacy?
A little different now.
Yeah, yep. Mental intimacy.
Right. Okay. Cam, you want to add anything or any suggestions to this brother?
Yeah, no, you know, I often say, you know, just because you've broken up doesn't mean you can't get back together. Sometimes people need time apart. They can't grow within the confines of a relationship, and that's fine. However, understand that you're meeting a new person. So you cannot bring the old assumptions about that person into the next phase or this new phase of your relationship. You have to treat it like I'm courting, I'm meeting someone brand new.
Yes.
All right, brother, you got your nuggets, man. Got your nuggets. Next comment we're going to go to. Here we go. Is this the same one? Nope, that's the same one. Here's go to the next one. Yeah.
Life is far too short to be worrying about the small, unnecessary things in your relationship. If you have noticed that your relationship is taking a dip and you need to spice things up again, is that it on that one?
Mm,
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
I guess
that's it
that's
on
it.
that
Yeah,
one.
definitely. Don't sweat the small
for
stuff.
sure.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
Hmm.
That's right.
Any advice for dealing with religious women that are constantly having a spiritual crisis and believe they are sinning by having fun before marriage? Great question if you refer to fun as hooking up.
Okay. That's a really
I
good.
think at this point you're just not
Hmm.
aligned. It's a lack of alignment there. Like if you're trying to deal with a spiritual woman that feels like she's going through a spiritual crisis by either having sex before marriage or hooking up, then you're hooking up with the wrong woman, my friend. You got to find a girl that doesn't feel anything about hooking up. And then, y'all have fun from there. But don't try to make her be something that she's not. She's going to always be having that spiritual crisis if this goes against her convictions.
Exactly. Very well said. And I don't even think it's a spiritual crisis if her values is aligned to wait before you get married or whatever the case may be. Um, Coming to you,
Right.
Jamila. Any advice you want to give this brother?
Yeah, I would. Well, I can't even because the person's not here. I was gonna say, what's fun? Like, what kind of fun are you talking about?
Right,
If
hooking
it's
up. Yeah.
sex, then you gotta respect. Because I'm gun ho like religious. So, you know, what are you looking for? And if you're looking for sex, and if she doesn't want that, like, move on. Go with
Right.
find somebody that want to have fun and have sex and do all that all the time, but don't try to make her don't try to make her have sex or do whatever you trying to do. She's not the one. Period. End of story. Move on.
Facts.
Period.
Agreed.
Okay.
End of story. Mm-mm.
All right. Cam, anything you want to add on?
Yeah, this honestly, this just doesn't sit well with me. It feels kind of reckless
Mm.
because, she obviously has her convictions, her standards, and to want to push past those to force, I don't want to say force, but not being a place of understanding where she is and accepting and respecting that, it's
Right.
bordering on being reckless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very well said. I mean, the truth hurts. I'm going to take a couple of more comments. We have a lot coming in. I'm trying to keep up. I'm pressing some of them as the same one, so I apologize for that. So the next one I have here.
Have been experiencing this lately with my partner. I feel sad and guilty because it seems so unfair to my partner who always appreciates and loves me. Thank you for not invalidating this kind of feeling. I have somehow felt like this is normal, but it's not. I was so used to dating thugs, but believe me, they did not treat me right. It's truly a selfish behavior, and now I have to look from within. He is a great guy, even though he's corny, but he treats me right.
Hmm.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. Appreciate that comment. And I'm just going to take a couple of more. Definitely got to get my sister Natima.
Hey, DBDS family, great topic. Hey, Natima.
Hey, Natima.
hey,
We got to talk about the next
Natima.
predicament. Right. Okay.
Boredom is a normal part of any human day. The issue is that, generally speaking, based divorce stat, women are viewing relationships as jobs and viewing men as being responsible to constantly be the source of whatever good feeling she wants in that moment. Women are viewing jobs as being that which completes them, and men as temporary breaks from the daily grind.
Mm. Okay. I like
Mm,
that comment.
Interesting.
Very well said. And I'll go ahead and take.
interesting.
mm,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take one more comment, and this one is from our sister Natima.
My opinion, when people become bored in their relationships, it's because they have become consumed by the relationship.
I like that. Very true.
Come on and talk about it.
Okay. Keep those comments coming. You guys are flooding the timeline. So listen, we're gonna just take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna continue our conversation on does boredom in a relationship equals ending it. This is DBDS Live. Sit tight. We'll be right back.
We talk all the time, and really, man, I just give much love and appreciation to you for founding DBDS and starting it, man, because it's not normal. There's so much banter back and forth, and just like you and I talked earlier, before we got on, who's going to raise the white flag first?
Hey,
That's beautiful.
Hi, I'm so excited. This is my first Queen takeover. Usually I'm in with the fellas, but I'm excited today.
So once again, I want to thank this amazing panel and much love to the DBDS family.
Mel, take it away. Mel.
All right. Welcome back to the DBDS Live studio. I'm here with my DBDS sisters, Tanisha the Professor, my sister Jamila, and my DBDS moderator Cameron. And we've been talking about does boredom in a relationship equals ending it. And before we pivot to our next topic, at the top of the show, I did mention that more women are leaving their marriages and their relationships, and most of their responses is due to being bored. So I do have a short clip I like to play from her brother who mentioned 3 signs that a sister is bored. Just want you to check it out. I'll go ahead and play it. And I just want to get everybody's reaction. So here's go to video. Here we go.
What's going on, family? Here are 3 signs she's losing interest in you. Let's go. Number 1, she's always busy. But for some reason, when you go on the gram or you go on Facebook, she's always out with her friends having a good time. And finally, when she squeezes you into her schedule, you feel like you're not supposed to be there. Why? Because she's not interested. Number 2, she's not showing any effort. Let me tell you something. When someone's into you, right, they call you, they text you, they check up on you emotionally, mentally, and physically, right? And they want to show up in your life. When someone's not into you, there's no effort. And number 3, she doesn't call or text as much. Before, in the beginning, she was texting you in the morning. Good morning, babe. Good morning, big head. How you slept? How you doing? Now, you don't get anything, right? You text her, and then she responds to you around 3 p.m. When you text at 8 a.m., she losing interest, bro.
Oh, man. Okay. So, listen, this is the perfect segue to go into our next topic. And the next one that I want to talk about here is how or what are some things you can do to bring the excitement back into the relationship so you don't end up in those situations with your husband or wife for lack of things. So I'm going to first come to my sister Jamila. What are your particular thoughts on this topic here?
So again, I'm going to use me, real life experience. I feel to bring things back into your marriage or your relationship, talk about it. That's the biggest thing. Communicate about it. If you can't communicate because the communication is broken, whatever the situation may be, text it, write it, do whatever you got to do. but talk about it. Don't throw the darts. Who did this, that, whatever. Yeah. But sit down and talk about it. And then sometimes I find too, like, I'm more of the aggressor. My husband's more laid back, and I feel like just take a stand. So if you got to plan something that y'all used to do, plan it, do it. And take the lead. Don't always look for like he got to do this, he got to do that. Take the lead and let it germinate, whatever you want to call it, into where it's supposed to be. It'll happen. It's going to be frustrating. It's not going to happen right away, but go for it. I've been married 16 years, and trust me, it ain't been peachy and creamy, but we balance. You got to know who's stronger, who's weak, who's whatever. Don't give up. Trust me.
You hear that?
It's,
I love that. Communication is the key.
It is key. And it doesn't always have to be verbally. That's where people, I think the misconception is, it doesn't always have to be verbal. Sometimes your spouse or your partner is not verbal. Maybe they got to write it down. Maybe they need to journal it out or text it out. Let that happen. You know what I'm saying? And you'll notice you'll get more lemonade like doing that. Not always our way.
I like that. It's not always one direction.
No, nope, and nope.
Yes, very well said. I'm coming next to my sister Tanisha. What are some of the things that can bring back that spice and that excitement into the relationship when it's dipping?
Well, one, I think it's a little bit of creativity, right? So it's no different than if you change your diet. Let's say you ate everything and now you become a pescatarian, or now you want to only eat protein or certain things. And let's say you decide to get rid of everything but chicken or everything but fish. You got to find ways to spice it up, right? You got to find different ideas and different avenues to make things look, taste, and feel better, right? So I just feel like it's the same with relationships. Like when things start to lose their spark, there is no issue or problem with being creative. Me and my, especially if the other spouse is open. Husband and I have taken tantra classes, spiritual yoga, sexual classes, anything. I found things online, things like that. Another thing, like to Jamila's point, is definitely just communicating about it, But the last thing I want to say, and this is just more for women, is if you feel like your relationship has lost its spark and lost its spice, the best thing that you can do is kind of find innovative ways to bring it back, even if you feel like he's not. The worst thing that you can do is complain about the lack of the spark, because that's not going to motivate him to want to bring the spark back. So now you've just created a totally awkward situation where you want him to touch you more. You want him to be more intimate. You want him to be more romantic, but you kind of told him and complained about it. Now it's like when he does it, it feels like, oh, I'm doing it because you told me to do it. And, it's weird now. So just try to be as creative as you can, as positive as you can about it. Positivity gets way more than negativity, I found personally for myself,
Very well said, man. And I like how you stated the positivity aspect. A lot of people don't realize that energy is a huge factor. And if you have that negative energy in your relationship, of course it's going to take a dip. So in communication, as you stated, those meaningful conversations, everything that we touch on, very well said. Kim, anything you want to add on to this particular topic?
Yeah, the ladies definitely, said a mouthful. The beautiful thing is to, look at it from a positive perspective and recognize that it's just creating an opportunity for two people to reinvest in the relationship. I love what Tanisha said about the tantra, the yoga, and the sex classes. Like, that's right up my alley. Like, absolutely. Do something different. Be uncomfortable, but uncomfortable with your partner, like your best friend. Like, what other person would you rather do something like that with? So just recognize that it's opening up a new door, taking you all to a new level. And, my sister has a saying that she tells my nieces whenever they say they're bored. And she's like, boredom makes your brain stronger because you have to come up with creative ways to do something new. And I think that's not just applicable to children, but definitely to adults and, definitely to our brothers
Yes.
who are out there in the world, got targets on their back the moment they walk out the house. And it's like they got so much pressure in the world. And then to come home to their castles basically and then feel as though there's one more thing for them to do. Like that's our opportunity as
Right.
women to say, no, I'm your soft place. I got you.
Right.
I appreciate you. I recognize
Right.
how hard you work for us. And, I just want to love on you. So, be open to that. Let me pour into you.
I love that. Let me pour
Yes.
into you. Man. Question I'm going to just ask out. I'm going to first come to Tanisha with this question. So, what if the wife or the husband per se, but especially our sisters out there, what if they're not flexible enough? What if they're not willing to do something new because they feel that it's too uncomfortable? And the man is like, hey, I'm trying to
Okay.
reignite this relationship. Let me take you to a carnival, or let's go to a night picnic, or do something to potentially bring strength into our relationship because it's both uncomfortable for us because this is the first time we're doing something together. What do you have to say to that?
Okay. Um, I think honestly, I'm a big believer in time and space.
Mm,
So I don't think that if they're not ready, should you force it either party. I think that while they're in that rigid phase, the only thing that you can do at that point is be understanding and find things actually that make yourself happy outside of them. Like a relationship is fine and it's great and it's amazing, but like I think it was Natima just said in the comments, like you can't consume yourself only with the relationship. And there was another comment that said women sometimes look at guys as the relief from their grind during the day. So I think that I'm just a huge believer of time and space. If they're not ready for that spark or that difference or whatever you were asking, like that newness,
right.
just find yourself a space where you can be happy. I feel like in no matter what situation it is, you can find your own happiness. You should not ever rely on the presence or the actions of someone else to make you happy. So let's just say my husband says, well, I'm not doing none of that right now. Okay.
Right.
It's not the time. I'm not doing it. I'm not in a good headspace. I'm not there for that. Then that it's at my choice now to not sulk into that and become despondent in that. It is my choice now to now do things, think of things, and be creative in things that make myself happy. That way, my happiness will actually probably help to draw in more of his happiness. Like, because
Ooh.
I'm happy either way. So I think that is going to be the key, finding your own happiness.
Wow. Very well said. Like that. Okay. Okay. Anything you want to add to that, Jamila? If a brother is or a sister is with someone that is rigid and don't want to try new things, as Tanisha stated, hey, let them have the space. You can't force anyone, but anything you want to add to it?
Pretty much the same thing. Let them, they let them go at their own pace. You can't force nobody to do what they don't want to do. And one big thing, because as y'all know, I was taking notes, but one thing, we as women, I feel as though we gotta find something, things for ourselves. We gotta make ourselves happy. We can't look for the guy to, oh, he's not giving us this, he's not doing that, he's not talking to me, he's not, whatever it may be. Find something for yourself. Find things that make you happy. And I notice, like in my marriage, it could be a relationship, doesn't necessarily have to be marriage. I feel like what you were saying, Tanisha, that a guy will follow you. So lead. So not necessarily like lead like your head, but just be happy. Go do things, and he'll bounce off of that.
Right.
So
Right.
just find something for you to do, and don't look for him to do so much, and it'll all work out. It'll all work out. Trust me.
Okay. Cam, you want to add anything to that? Because I have some brothers on the back end that I talked to about this, and they're like, man, yeah, I mean, she has space and everything like that, but the more space, the more distant she becomes. And I'm trying to do different things that can possibly just disrupt the everyday routine that made it bored to begin with. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like it's a delicate balance, actually. Like the ladies have said, we as women definitely have to have something for ourselves that intrigues us without the man. And really, that's probably what drew him to us in the first place. That we did have something going for ourselves that filled us up, that made us happy, and that drew him in. Just because we're in a relationship, that doesn't have to go away. We can have something for ourselves, right, something together with our partner, and, constantly check in with each other. You got to keep a finger on the pulse of your relationship. I think the most hurtful thing to experience is that more people outside of your relationship have more of a finger on the pulse than you do, and you're in the relationship. That's hurtful. But at the end of the day, you really have to self-reflect, and then obviously check in with your partner to find out, hey, what's working and what's not working. Let's see where we are with this.
Okay, very well said. Thank you for sharing that. I would like to come back to my sister Tanisha. What else you may want to add to this conversation?
Well, earlier, when you posed the question, you were saying, like, let's say, it's a woman that's the man might not be open to certain things, so we're like, yeah, well, the woman should find some things. But I think if it's the man, I think it's a little different when it's the man trying and the woman's not open. I think that's a little bit different. I think maybe when that case happens, then he might need to find some form of underlying issue, because normally most women open to some form of change, movement, creativity, date nights. If she's saying no to those things, there's an underlying issue. It's not just that she is like, oh, well, I just want to be bored in the relationship purposely. There's something, there's a wall up. There's something that's causing her. If he's leading her to wanting to do more things and she's just rigid to it and saying no, then it's not that. It's usually something else. He has to find that.
Right.
When it's a man, it's usually just that he's busy and women get bored easily. But if it's a man trying to get her out of it and she's not coming with him, then there has to be, I think, a little bit more of a conversation, a little bit more digging.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that in. That's a very eye opener. Appreciate that. Jamila, what is it that you want to add to this conversation?
We haven't spoken about it yet, but I feel as though two women, like, stop comparing your relationship with what you see on social media, on the gram, on Twitter, whatever it may be. It's like fake news. So you see somebody else with some guy, whatever the case may be, stop comparing that, because that's not true. You know what I'm saying? So, just period. Stop comparing yourself. Stop looking at social media like, oh, he's this, he's that, oh, she didn't this, she did. Stop doing it. And I think that has a lot to do with why we think, oh, our relationship's not working. Oh, he's doing this, she's doing this. Stop the madness. Please stop the madness.
Okay.
But I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I certainly agree with that.
Stop.
I was going to actually piggyback to Tanisha, then I'll go to you, Cam, to get your thoughts on this. So do you think social media to some point is contributing to a lot of these marriages, becoming becoming failed marriages? Do you think so? Because before social
Hell
media
yeah.
and everything.
Sorry, but yeah, social media is the worst. And the reason I say that is because remember a long time ago, they would say like keeping up with the Joneses. And that was a woman's thing. Like it wasn't really the guy's thing, it was a woman's thing. The housewives would compete with each other to kind of like see who was better. Now it's not housewives that lived in the same neighborhood and in the same cul-de-sac. Now it is social media. And most women, because we're emotionally based in our awareness, social media triggers us, I feel, more than it does men. So we'll be on social media and be triggered by something, you know, your coworker is in Jamaica with her boyfriend, your acquaintance is somewhere. You see all these people down your timeline posting all the best moments of their life. They're not posting the terrible stuff. They're only posting the good stuff. That's why I hate Instagram, because I don't feel like it's real. I feel like it's fake. You took 50 pictures to get the best pose. You took 50 pictures to get the best view of your hotel room. And then now you have everybody saying, well, you didn't take me there. And I also think, you know, it's one of the things that I've been big on, you know, like Christmas and things like that. I don't post gifts that I give my son. I don't post what my husband does for me. I don't post what I do for him, because I feel like it causes a level of comparison. Well, you didn't buy me a car. Well, you didn't do that. Well, you didn't do that for me. I just feel like it's kind of stupid. Like, I don't know. I don't even know another word, but I just feel like people have gotten this competitive nature with social media and everybody's competing with each other, people they don't even know. They have no idea what their lives are really like, but yet they're comparing a perception that might not even be real. So I just think that women shouldn't get caught up in it.
I have one brother, before I come to you, Cam, he told me that social media has created the art of lost conversations. He's old school, so he just remembers back in the day he presented himself. He had to know how to verbally, talk to a woman, how to approach a woman, and so forth. And he thinks that social media has kind of killed it, And he says it's also very more tempting. Somebody can just slide in your DM, and it's very tempting to get that attention. He calls attention currency. So he says it's very tempting to get that.
Yeah.
Cam, I mean, do you co-sign with it? Do you think social media has some sort of effect on failed marriages these days, especially in our community?
I definitely see social media as a distraction. And, like the ladies brought up the points, like especially the comparison.
Okay.
The comparing yourself to others, like that is the most horrible thing you could ever do to yourself. And to be quite honest with you, I'm only on social media for the purposes of this podcast and the other podcast. That's the only reason. And other than that, I'm off. So if I catch a message, if I post a message, it's around a holiday or something, but I come from the school of thought where people only know what you tell them. Privacy is prime. I tell when my father was still living, I would tell my parents, I'm so grateful you all had me when you did, because I love privacy.
Me too.
And it's not that I'm hiding something from people, or I think that if I show them something, they can take something from me. No, absolutely not. What I have has my name on it and my name only. No one can take anything from me. No one ever will take anything from me. But social media is highly distractive. It is so noisy for me.
Yeah.
All right. Very well said. So we're on a little bit of time constraint. I'm going to take a few more comments. So the first one coming up here.
This topic is an eye-opener. I broke up with my boyfriend of 3 years over this reason. Extremely bored. 2 months ago, and we recently started talking again because I missed him very badly. The reason I gave up on our relationship is because I'm 21 and I met him when I was 18. So I wasn't sure if I was supposed to keep fighting for our relationship. Was I wrong? It still hurts him to this day. Any response will help. Thank you, DBDS.
Okay. Cameron, you want to give that give the sister some advice or suggestions?
Well, first, thank you for writing in. Thank you for being vulnerable with us. Honestly, we can't tell you if you were wrong or right. You have
Okay.
to decide that for yourself. Um, you know, if he's in a place where he's open to hearing from you, go for it. But at the same time, recognize and respect whatever response he has, whether it's what you're hoping for or what you don't want to hear. But just be honest with him.
Appreciate that. Okay. Jamila, any advice you want to give this sister?
Oof. Well, I'm looking at the age.
Okay.
So,
Think of it like our daughter. I'm up there too. So
yeah, so
talking to
I'm
my daughter.
thinking, you actually like find out what are you looking for? You're 21 years old.
Okay.
You know, I'll piggyback off of what you were saying. Just, if he's responding, respond. But honestly, if he's not, don't beg. You have a
Right.
whole life ahead of you. I'm just gonna keep it real. Look, you're 21 years old. You're 18.
Right.
3 years. I'm in my 40s. Listen, you have a whole life ahead of you, and I tell my teenage daughter the same thing. You listen. This is not the end.
Right.
So this is just the beginning. Keep pushing. You'll find your king.
Okay. Very well said. And Tanisha, anything you want to add to this young sister? Appreciate you watching the show, my young sister.
Yeah, I think it's good that she was vulnerable. She said she broke up with her boyfriend of 3 years, but when you're 18, boredom is not uncommon. You're 18. There's a lot of things you have to do. There's a lot of life you have to live. We can't tell you if you're wrong or right. And if he's still hurt about it, it's unfortunate. But at this point, there's no, like Cameron said earlier, there's nobody has the time constraint on reconnecting. So it might be possible, at some point at an earlier age. But I'm not surprised that she was bored at 18.
Right.
Like the attention span now is 30 seconds for these kids. So a relationship that deep at 18 is very hard for me to even see.
Man, very well said. Man, kind of got me. I'm in my 40s too. Kind of
Me
got me
too.
thinking like, man, well, we're gonna have that '96 cross high school reunion, but that's another topic. We're gonna go ahead and take you to the next comment here from my brother Carl.
Number one. Okay, hey Carl. So I guess these are his
To spice things
his
up.
tidbits. His tips.
Yes,
Talk to each other. Go on weekly dates. Spice up the intimacy. Try new hobbies. Do a DIY together. Flirt more. Go on adventures. Write love letters to each other. Recreate some of your first dates. Seek couples therapy.
Okay, Carl.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, Carl, you sound like a coach.
Okay. Next, brother.
So the signs will be different for couples who live together and who live separately.
Oh, good question, Ivan.
They could.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it could be different just because when you don't live together, you can hide. It's harder to hide when you live together. You can hide some of the discontentment a little more than coming to the same place every single day together.
True.
Yes. And I'm going to take 2 more comments.
I was having an anxiety attack over losing feelings for my boyfriend. I think the rough part is that he's literally the epitome of a perfect boyfriend. So I took a good hard look at myself to realize that he is not the problem. I hope I can repair our relationship because I do want to marry him.
Okay, sister.
All
Okay.
right. Good self-reflection.
Good. And the last comment.
When is the next DBDS Queen and King takeovers?
Oh man,
We were just
good
talking
question.
about that.
We were just talking about that. Listen, we have our sister Tanisha on dial right now. We're gonna have to rearrange it. We will definitely make an announcement. So just stay tuned. That's all I can say. Okay. All right, my people. So we're gonna take one last commercial break. When we come back, we're definitely gonna do our Jerry Springer moment. So sit tight. This is DBDS Live. Don't you go anywhere.
You just gotta realize
All right. Welcome back to DBDS Live. I'm here with my DBDS sister Tanisha, my sister Jamila, my DBDS moderator Cameron, and we've been talking about does boredom in a relationship equals ending it, which is a much needed conversation. But now it's time to pivot to our Jerry Springer moment, where we share our final thoughts for today's show. And if you enjoyed this episode, please, you can catch us on our YouTube channel, DBDS Live. Just make sure you hit that subscription and notification button. And not only just there, you can also catch us on the Roku channel, which that commercial you just seen. All you have to do is go to Roku, type in the Pure Moment Network, and you'll be able to see the Queen Takeover in high definition. You'll be able to see DBDS Live in high def. You can check us on Radio Public, Anchor, Spotify, you name it. We're all over the place. So first I am going to come to my sister Jamila. What are your final thoughts for today's show? Great show, by the way.
Well, first off, I think don't give in right away. Use your resources. There's a lot of resources out here. There's DBDS. There's therapy too. But don't give up. Don't give up. Keep trying. That's about it. Just
Okay.
just keep trying, and don't give up.
Okay. Love it. Very well said, my sister. And you can't give up. There's hope. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Very well said. Coming to my sister Tanisha. Man, a few little bumps here and there, but an amazing show like always. What are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I think that one, as we were talking, the rules of dating and marriage, I feel like are a little bit different as it relates to boredom. I think if you leave relationships because you're bored before you get married, that's perfectly fine until you have your aha moment that the issue is probably you and not the other person. But I think that when you're married, like the word sacrifice needs to come into play. And I think the fact that 70% of marriages end in divorce, that means that 30 out of 100 marriages will make it. The odds are not that great. So, and then 90% of those being filed by women who usually say that they want to find themselves or they lost themselves in marriage or they just aren't happy anymore. I think that speaks volumes. And Tramel, you were saying earlier that it was mainly in our community, but the sad part about our community is only 1 in 4 Black women will get married anyway. So, and part of that I think is because we will leave at the drop of a dime. You know, when you say marriage vows, they mean what they mean, you know, better or worse. Sickness and health. To death do you part. Death is a long time, y'all. So, you know, I don't really think you get to throw in the towel because of the word boredom or even happiness. Like, nobody ever said marriages were here for our happiness. Marriages are here for our growth. And it is our mirrors and growing past situations that cause you to be able to evolve and go to that next level in your relationship. But if you throw in the towel, you're just going to recreate the same situation in your next situation. And it's going to keep repeating itself because the issue is usually you and not the other person. So I'm just going to leave with that.
Very well said. Yeah. I mean, let's stop looking at our marriages like they're the next upgrade to the next phone. You know, every year you're just upgrading, getting a new phone. So let's change that perspective around because we have the highest divorce rate out of everyone out there. I mean, we don't get a bronze, we don't get a silver. You know, we're like in a podium looking at the other people on the stand. You know, so let's get it together, my folks. And finally, I'm coming to Cameron. What an engaging show! I mean, it just keeps getting better and better. So, what are your final thoughts for?
Yeah, today was amazing. The comments that came in, Jamila, Tanisha, like, I mean, just an amazing show and really a tough topic. You know, when you think about it, like being called on the rug about being bored with somebody and you're an adult, like, you know, it's just, it's got to be more than that, folks. You know, see it as an opportunity to reconnect, reinvest, and reinvent your relationship. You know? And then after that, if both parties aren't, you know, you're on the same accord, like, you know what, it's just best we go our separate ways, then do that. But, you know, of course, if you're dating, but marriage, like Tanisha said, it's a little different. You know, you can't just throw up the deuces because you're bored. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
But yeah, I just say, just see it as an opportunity to reconnect with your partner, reevaluate where you are, become more self-aware. You know, check in with yourself first and foremost, see where you are. You know, not to say make sure you're not the problem, but, you know, see what you're contributing to the situation, why you're in the place that you are. And that's all I'm going to say on that matter.
Okay. Very well said. And before I provide you with my final thoughts, I just want to thank this amazing panel for sharing their wisdom. I like to give a special shout out, of course, to Carl, the accountability coach. That's my ace, my partner. And my brother Hazardous for sharing his platform, the Pure Moment Network, on the Roku channel, where you can, you know, relax, have yourself a glass of wine, download the Roku app. It is totally free. And then go ahead and add his network on play. So that way you can show your support. So my final thoughts is, you know, the quality of our lives will always be heavily determined by the quality of our relationships. And the quality of our relationships depends upon the quality of trust we have built in those relationships. And listen, we have to be realistic knowing that, and I said it multiple times, that the honeymoon phase does not last forever. And being bored in a relationship is a normal and common issue that happens to many couples. However, that does not mean that you need to not do anything about it or decide to divorce that person, especially if you invested so much into the relationship. So remember that communication is the key. And if you have to, and also you have to be honest with your partner on how you feel so you both can work together based on the strong foundation you both built. All right. So once again, I want to thank this amazing panel and much love to the DVDS family.
All right, Mel, take it away.